This is WOMMLP operating out of Burlington, Vermont, 105.9 The Radiator is a rocket shop. I'm your host, Tom Proctor, and with me tonight is Lazybird. Hello.
Hello.
How are we all doing this evening?
We're good. How are you?
Pretty good. This is actually the most we've had on as a band in a I don't know, a few weeks at the very least. Excited to hear you play. We like kicking it off with a song, so what have you got to start us with?
This is a song. Are we doing Forbidden Sun? Yeah. All right. This is a song called Forbidden Sun. Just sit for a little while, left behind a ray or two. One is for tomorrow, the other's for me and you. You have hiked to the lowest points of your destination, slow you down for sure. Come with me and let's take a little vacation. Go away to some beach. We'll bathe the sun for a little while, and then we'll dodge out to the coast. Wait till you see the sun and the sky. You'll feel it, you know. So let me take you there, to the land of the forbidden sun, far away. Clouds in the rain seem to stay away, at least while we're here. But one little drop could lead to so much creation. Before you know it, we'll have a sea. We'll brave the storm for a little while, and then we'll dodge out to the coast. Wait till you see the sun and the sky. You'll feel it, you know. So let me take you there. To the land of the
there, Lazy Bird with Forbidden Sun. So let's get started. I mean, how you guys got together. So I understand this is a pandemic band. So how did this whole setup kind of come to be?
So it's a really funny story. So over the pandemic, I was going to see a band one night at Orlando's in town. It was a band, Chris, and I met Tom at that show, and we ended up going over to the owner of the Orlando's bar, Ryan Dempsey, who's a keyboardist at Twiddle. We went over his house after to see this band again play, and that's how Tom and I met. And I met Matt online, and we started jamming with a group of like us and some members of Chris, and Ryan Dempsey would be there from Twiddle sometimes, and that like started we were just jamming on campus, and people would come outside, or we'd play in a common room during the pandemic, but really just playing music because it was the only place we could, you know. And then we met Asa and Cal. We met Asa and Cal this year. You know, like the first, and it's been really weird this year playing like shows, because like last year there was just nothing. You know, there was just like, and if we wanted to play a show, it'd be like we can set up in our common room or set up outside our dorm and just play, you know, but we don't really know if anything's going to happen. You know, now we can actually play shows.
Now we can bank on people actually being there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when was that kind of moment where you went from just kind of some guys jamming with some other guys to actually having a cohesive unit and practicing together, and then really from that moment then starting to book actual gigs? So what happened there?
It was late last semester, I'd say like May, and Jackson and I were writing a few songs, and we were like, we should get some people to play these songs, and so we filmed a video of that song, Forbidden Sun, in Jackson's dorm room last year, and then over the summer played a couple gigs, but we're all over the East Coast, so it was hard, and then this fall it really kind of took hold.
Yeah.
Playing real shows.
I think it was the first night we got back to campus. Like, so, you know, it's coming back up. It was like the day before classes or something. We had a show that night on campus, and it was just crazy because we had just come all together, you know, met back up after the summer. We had a show on campus that night, and it was off campus. It was at like a basement party, and that was like a solidifying moment as like 300 people came out or something, you know, and we were psyched, and we were like, this is something we can do, you know.
So that was your first gig, a basement show, but with 300 people there.
Yeah, back in Burlington, yeah, our first real show.
What was that feeling like? Have any of you played in bands before and kind of had that experience of playing to that many people?
Yeah, so Asa plays in the band Moondogs, and Cal's played his whole life in different jazz groups, and so has Matt. Tom, you have you played in another band? Tom had I had high school bands too, but like, you know, nothing.
This feels a little different.
It feels
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I was just in the open mic scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this the biggest gig you'd all played to, or with like a jazz group and other bands? Have you had gigs with hundreds of people before?
Probably at that point that was the biggest thing we've done, and then it just kind of grew this fall.
Yeah, like it's had a snowballing effect for a little while. I think we hit the biggest show we played was in the backyard. We had about 1,000 people. We estimated to be in that backyard, which was really crazy. Yeah.
That must have been a big backyard.
Not really though. Like that's the crazy thing is like coming back the morning after we were seeing all the surfaces that people were trying to stand on, you know, and it was like the fire pit, people just stood all over, you know, and like everything was just trashed.
Is it primarily, have you got an audience that are mostly other UVM kids, or are you kind of drawing from the rest of the kind of the Burlington jam community and getting other people who are going out to watch, the Grateful Dead cover bands and the Twiddle and whatnot?
We definitely started the semester off with more of a UVM crowd, and we're slowly moving into the bar scene. And we played at Nectar's a few weeks ago. We're playing at Higher Ground in a couple weeks, so we hope to get some local older fans as well.
Yeah. And so as students, university students yourselves, I'm guessing you kind of all from around the East Coast, maybe some of you are further afield. What is it about Burlington specifically that makes jam music? Why is jam music so ubiquitous here? Barring the Fish influence, obviously Fish around in the 90s, oh, it's 30 years ago now, but this kind of trend remains. I've been here for 6 years now, and people were loving jam bands when I got here. People are loving jam bands now. What is it about Burlington that kind of attracts jam music?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just jam music as a whole, but I think Burlington's a very musical town. You know, very like an artistic town, and it's one thing that I've moving here from New Hampshire, which isn't too far away. But one thing I've noticed is that people here are just very friendly and very nice, and I don't know, like what makes people into jam, like the jam band, besides Fish being from here. I really think it might just be Fish being, because that's why I came here. I mean, I came to college because Fish, Fish started here, you know. And like, there's.
And don't get me wrong, I went to my university town because Arctic Monkeys came from there, but I mean, that at least was like 2 or 3 years past they got big. You know,
Yeah.
Fish got big 30 years ago. It feels like there must be something else in the water or something else, something like that, you
Yeah.
know?
It's a legacy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard to explain.
A lot of people here are still listening to Fish and still like, inspired by it, even though it was 30 years ago, they're still playing. I just paid $40 for a stream on Sunday, to watch them play.
So that's another question of mine. I mean, we interview all sorts of bands here, and you're very right. Burlington's got a great musical scene, spans multiple genres, but I don't meet people around here that spend $40 on a live stream for watching, a Fish gig. I don't see people kind of follow a genre of music with that kind of intensity as the jam music scene. Can't say I'm a big jam person myself, so as an outsider, it seems it's something that I don't really know about. I can't understand the culture of.
Tom's going to speak on this.
Yeah,
one.
please
Tom.
do.
I guess I was just gonna say it's the whole live experience. It's the whole Fish could play the same song, 40 times, and they've played some of their songs hundreds of times. But the fans expect that they're gonna get something new and different each time. Like they're gonna bring the jam somewhere else, and there's like even classifications like type 1 and 2 jams, and like just different there's all just it's a rabbit hole and a half. But yeah, I think it's the live music aspect.
Is there any other genres you feel this kind of can apply to?
Jazz, definitely.
Just jazz.
I think like jam bands are just like jazz with blues language. It's like improv music with blues language rather than like extremely like modal stuff. And,
All right. Well, I'd love to hear another song. So what have you guys got for us?
What do we got next, Matt?
This is an original called Three Diamonds.
You left me with my thoughts now, baby. What am I supposed to do?
right, 3 diamonds there by Lazybed. So it seems that you guys have kind of got a meteoric rise to fame, at least in Bailington so far. 300 people at your first gig, 1,000 people in the back garden. It would suggest that you've got a little bit of momentum. Usually at this point, a lot of people go to the studio. So what's the plans on getting something recorded?
We are going to the studio right now. We're working with Rose Gold Studios. His name is Phil, and he's out near Stowe, Vermont. And he's just like, he's great. We're recording songs. We just got a mix back actually last night, and we're trying to release music as soon as possible. It's hard.
It's difficult being students, all of us, because we're trying to balance the band with school and then recording an album on the weekends. So we've gotten in a few times, and we have a few dates lined up for the next month. So we're super excited to get definitely a single out in the next month, and then an album following that.
Yeah. And did you kind of take the first 10, 12 songs that you've written and just gone for it? Or has there been a case of you've got a huge backlog of songs and it's a really difficult thing to choose which ones to put on the record?
Oh, we don't have that many songs like that. So the things is, most of the songs that we've written, they're keepers, because if we're writing a song and it's not good, then we'll just it'll fade out, we'll forget it because no one wants to play it. So the songs that we know are the songs that I guess we liked, when we were playing.
We have like a lineup of 6 or 7 that we want to include on the album.
Yeah. There's like a bunch of ideas that I think we've had that have just kind of faded out and not really turned into anything.
Yeah.
But as far as our songs go, I think the ones that we fully developed, we've kept,
So this is another question I've been begging to ask a jam band is, how do you decide the version that you're recording is the version? Because you guys play a different version, I'm assuming, of most songs most times you play.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you decide which one is the one you record?
That's a hard part about being in the studio, because we spent 3 hours and we took a bunch of different takes of the same song, and they were all good, but they were all different, and it's like, what do we choose? And it kind of comes down to like simplifying it enough where we would feel good putting it out on the radio. And like with that comes kind of oversimplification. It's like we aren't playing what we would play live, but that's also an aspect of like recording for the radio or for Spotify or iTunes.
Yeah, we're not going to have a 20-minute solo section on Apple Music or Spotify, because that's not what people, are going to be listening for when they pull us up for the first time. They want to hear, like a 3.5-minute song that represents us well. It's all compact and put together,
How do you choose which of you gets the one solo then, or the 2 short solos for anyone? Democracy?
We asked around.
We did that like 5 minutes before we were playing. We're like, all right, who's soloing on
it
these?
It changes every night.
Yeah. So it's not a dictatorship. There's not one of you saying, all right, this time keys, this time sax.
We try not to.
We try not to, yeah.
Well, that's good. Democracy is a good way to go about this, I'm sure, because it stops arguments. Yeah, you've gone into the studio, but in terms of like actually writing a jam song or a song, what elements are you bringing into this in terms of lyrics or direction, or is there a general theme to the record that you're coming out with like overarching kind of a narrative arc, or are you kind of just writing whatever you're feeling like in that moment?
I'd definitely say we're inspired by the same genres like over and over again, but that list of genres is increasing every day.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely like funk, reggae, blues, and then definitely like rock in general, but it just kind of comes as we write songs. It's not necessarily a certain genre per album or per
Yeah.
project.
I mean, lyrically though, is there any kind of particular direction you're going in?
No, there's no. Like our lyrics are. The funny thing is I was talking with someone about lyrics, and they were telling me, they're like, it seems like a lot of people read in the lyrics so much, and then they have all these different meanings for the songs that they listen to. But then when you take those lyrics and you lay them out, they're like, oh, this doesn't really mean much, or this is either really deep, or it's just kind of just they're just writing down rhymes. And I guess we just kind of write lyrics and leave them up for interpretation. You know.
A lot of our songwriting process happened last spring, and it was Jackson and I in the basement of our dorm, and he would just kind of say a line, sing it back. If it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't.
Yeah.
So really, when it comes to lyrics, you're really kind of going for the phonics of it rather than any deeper meaning about, you know, how you're feeling, or emotions, or what the life is like outside right now. Or
Yeah,
anything
I
like
mean, you never know. I mean, like I'm left interpreting the lyrics as much as anyone else's. You
Okay.
know, so I guess it could be, but you don't really know. I mean, it's just words that come to your brain, and they could have meaning.
The friend you were having a conversation with, was he talking specifically about jam band lyrics, or was it lyrics writ large?
We were talking specifically about Nirvana, and we were talking about how like people think about Kurt Cobain's lyrics as like he's a genius, but then you think about some of his songs, and you're like, oh well, you know, maybe that's not the most complex thing. Maybe sometimes it's just, you know, simple. You know, it's simple, and it's just simple rhymes that people love and that people will read into, you know, and they'll think like, oh, this is mysterious. What does this mean? But it could just be a simple rhyme.
I often talk to bands who talk to me about how a lot of the times they write and then what they play is this kind of therapeutic in a way that they're trying to convey an emotion and trying to convey a feeling, not just in what the lyrics are saying, but also the manner of which they're playing their instrument or they're composing the band around them. Is that the same for jam bands? If you're going for a dark patch collectively, or one of you going for a dark patch, do you find you're playing differently, or on the opposite end, if you're having a particularly elated moment, if you just had 1,000-person gig outside, is the next time you play, you're playing with a lot more oomph and a lot more kind of positive emotion?
Yeah, I think that definitely has an impact. With
Energy. It has to do with energy.
But with songwriting, I was gonna say, I don't know if we've been a band long enough to go through those dark and happy stages, but
Yeah, we're kind of just starting off, you know.
I'm assuming you've been humans long enough to go through these
Oh
moments.
yeah,
So
we've been humans. Like, yeah. Maybe it's most of us, yeah. I don't know about Tom.
well, I'd love to hear another song. So what have you got for us?
this one's called The Camel.
How high's that mountain you're standing on? Where is it leading? Where you coming from? You're an owl that preaches the dawn. So why don't you come down and stand here tall? You don't know where the night will take you. So right your wrong, live with the people. 'Cause we just want to be free. Find a place to sleep. We just want to be free. Find a place. How much love do you give before you die? How far do you bend down to reach the sky? The troubled waters when you cry. It'll take a lot of reason just to get you back. And when I die, take me to the steamboat.
right, the camel there by Lazy Bird. Any chance named after Camel's Hump, or is that just wishful thinking?
Yeah, it actually is.
Was it a fateful afternoon hike up there, and you inspired to write a song, or you just kind of look out your window and there it was?
We were looking out our window.
Yeah, window of our dorm.
Yeah, I got a good view of Camel's Hump.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great mountain.
Yeah.
Do you have a Mount Mansfield one in your repertoire as well to keep it even? No, no. All right.
That's next.
I thought the laugh was going to be accompanied by an absolute yes, and this is our next song. So you guys seem to have the social media game down pat. I'm assuming it's because you're all students. But is that something that's really quite important in order to kind of build your fan base these days?
I think it definitely is. Especially on campus, it's easy to spread news of shows of whatever we're doing on campus, and Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, all of it. And that's definitely helped us in getting kids to our shows.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel posters still work. You know, you can still hang up posters everywhere and you'll get people out to your show. But Instagram's free, you know, and it doesn't cost any money to print posters, and it's no effort. You just put it up once. And, yeah, we've had our best turnouts have been because of, you know, social media.
Who's the social media guy on the team?
Matt and I.
Yeah.
Us too.
And we have a friend, Finton, who also has access to our account. He doesn't really do much, but...
How did he get specialist access? Did he say you were going to help you out one day? And
Yeah, he
Nice with the
helped
keys.
me out with a lot of homework.
okay,
And he wanted access to the account.
so now he gets to read the DMs.
Yeah, sometimes he replies to them too.
That.
He's my neighbor, so if anything happens, he's just right down the hall.
Right, there we go. Well, one, you got a patsy, you know, a scapegoat in case you do something terrible.
Yeah, just say it's Finton.
So you've been playing, as you said, you've been doing a couple of bar gigs. Probably still, I'm guessing, playing the odd basement show. It's getting a bit too cold for the outdoor garden parties. Although there was a few good gigs kicking around this Halloween weekend. What have you got coming up? And also, do you prefer playing more DIY shows versus like your likes and Nectars, or are you kind of more you down for those bar gigs?
I think we like the different venues for different reasons. Like the basements and backyards are fun because the crowd is always energetic and like very
Yeah.
intimate. But at the same time, playing at Nectar's was great. We got to use all their great gear, and it was just like a much more professional experience.
There's a green room and stuff.
There's a green room, there's the sound guy, and we don't have to worry about lugging as much gear up.
Yeah, there was a funny thing that happened at one of our backyard shows. You know, it's DIY, and we love it, but like we had everything running off of this one power strip, and it kept on getting unplugged like every 5 minutes, and so like all the lights and all the sound would just stop every like 5 minutes because someone would step on it. You know.
So we don't get stuff like that when
No.
we're playing actual venues, but
Yeah.
it is fun to play the backyards.
And the kind of mixture of the two would be the Swan Dojo, which you
Yeah,
guys played
exactly.
a few
Yeah.
weeks ago, which I've been to. I think every time I've been there, they've had some kind of sound issue.
Yeah.
How was that gig?
It was good. It was actually a lot of fun, and we're going back there this Friday to play with a bunch of good bands.
Rose McCann Band.
Ursa and the Major Key and Sunchild, right?
Well, that's a quite a lineup. How long's this gig going on for?
I think it's gonna go from 7 p.m. to midnight, probably 11:30 midnight.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of unknown.
Yeah, it's
really-
to whether the cops come and start
Yeah,
turfing
shut
people
it
out
down.
of Swan Dojo again. I do love that venue, but it definitely fits in that middle ground between DIY and in an actual venue. You say you're playing Higher Ground in the next few weeks. Tell me
Yeah,
a little bit
yeah.
about that. How did you manage to book that gig?
There's a jazz fusion guitarist from Brooklyn. His name's Shub Saran, and he reached out to us over Instagram. That's another plus of social media. There's a bunch of musicians on it, and they reach out, and it's great.
Yeah.
But he asked us to open up for him on November 17th at Higher Ground in the Showcase Lounge.
Yeah.
So we'll be there. We're super excited.
Yeah.
We got some other gigs. We have Swan Dojo this Friday, like we said. Orlando's next
on-
Friday.
Yeah, on November 12th, we're playing Orlando's.
Back where it all began.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then do we have any other shows booked out right now?
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
And are you peppering this in with other kind of basement shows and backyard shows, or are you kind of more focused on the venues? Yeah.
Right now, we're more focused on the venues, just because it's like, it's achievable. Because a few months ago, venues weren't achievable.
Mhm.
We've reached out to many, and they, put us down and said you can't play here. But now it's a different tune, so we're taking advantage of that and trying to play it as many places as we can.
And you're attributing this to the kind of following you've got now?
Yeah,
and just being a band, period. Like when we reached out to them over the summer, we played one gig before, so it was hard to give them experience or give them examples of what we sounded like. But
Yeah.
it's different when we played 12, 15 shows.
Yeah. And before I'll let you play your last song, tell us a little bit more about this record. You said you keep going to the studios on the weekend. When should we expect that album to come out?
So we should expect a single in the next month that we're listening to right now, and it's sounding good. And so I think we're almost ready to put it out. And then as far as the album, we'd like to get it out latest in the spring. That's like the latest possible time is the spring, but hopefully this winter.
It's in the air.
Yeah,
Basically.
maybe by the end of the year. I don't know.
Springtime's good for an album release, and you got the spring and summer to kind of showcase it.
Yeah.
Whereas in the winter, it's hard to get people out to gigs in the winter.
Yeah.
It's cold. There's lots of snow on the ground. You guys all know. You've been here for a few years. Any name for the album yet, or is that still TBD?
We have a name that we've been shooting around, the Together We Fly album, which you talked about, but I don't know if that's gonna stick.
We have a few names that we've been tossing around. But
Yeah.
Is this what
nothing that we
you've agreed on? Yeah. Is this going to get decided democratically as well? You guys all gonna put a vote in for something?
We're throwing our 2 cents.
I'm seeing looks around right now. I think some lobbying going around between the keyboardist and the drummer. All right, well, we've got time for about one more song. So what have you got to play us out with?
This one's called Tired of Loving You.
All right.
Your mic's farting. I said I'm tired, and you're taking all my headspace, and I've got nothing to replace your smile, you liar. All the things that you say to weasel your way back in my life. And stop that, girl. I'm done rolling. Said I'm tired of loving Tell me, where is your fountain holding all of your emotion? Can I play in the water? Take a dive. Slow down, babe. There's no reason to hurry, no reason to worry away. You run down, girl. I'll never chase you out of town. Said I'm tired of loving you.
tonight. Tired of Loving You by Lazy Bird. Guys, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yep, thank you.
Not at all. Well, you join us next week when we got Nick Sharik of Western Terrestrials. He'll be coming into the studio to play some of his stuff. But for now, this is all we've got. This has been 105.9 The Radiator, The Rocket Shop. I've been your host, Tom Proctor, and good night.